Liverpool, 2nd March 1987. A night that should have been ordinary. One of those that go unnoticed in time until someone disappears. Outside the Jolly Miller pub, under the dim light of a lamppost, a 15-year-old boy waits for a bus. His eyes are red with tears, his breathing ragged. He hugs himself, shivering, but not just from the cold. Something weighs on his chest, a sadness that only he understands. The bus will arrive at any time, but Mark Garvey will never ride it. He will never return home, and he will never be seen again. To understand this mystery, we must first meet Mark Garvey. He grew up in Walton, a working-class neighborhood of Liverpool. He was the third of 4 siblings in a close-knit Catholic family. His father, Dennis, worked as a social worker. His mother, Dorothy, was a housewife. Mark was a smart kid, a bright student who dreamed of being a lawyer. He had a reserved character, but he was always responsible and affectionate with his family. His life revolved around his studies, football. He was a loyal Everton fan, and his relationship with his girlfriend, a girl his age whom he visited frequently in West Derby. He was a young man with dreams and plans for the future. Nothing foreshadowed that, in a matter of hours, it would disappear without a trace. The morning of March 2nd passed without any surprises. Mark was excited for his date with his girlfriend. She dressed in her best clothes and told her mother, "I'm leaving now, Mom. I'll be back around 9. He left home with just enough, just a few coins for the bus. Nothing else. He left behind his coat, his wallet, and the money he'd saved for a school trip. He had the firm intention of returning. What was supposed to be a special night turned into a brutal blow for Mark. At his girlfriend's house, he discovered something that tore him apart. His best friend was there. Confrontation was inevitable. The words turned into screams, the disappointment into tears. Mark didn't want to listen anymore. He turned and ran away. At approximately 9:45 p.m., witnesses spotted Mark at the bus stop. He looked distressed, but calm in appearance. No one noticed anything out of the ordinary. A bus passed minutes later. If I had gone up, I would have gotten home around 10 p.m. But Mark never came. When Mark didn't return at the promised time, his mother began to fret. At midnight, worry turned to panic. Dorothy drove to Mark's girlfriend's house. His response was terrifying. Mark left hours ago. He said he was going to the bus. From that moment, desperation began. Police began the search on the route Mark should have taken. They questioned witnesses, reviewed security camera footage on buses, searched hospitals, parks, and train stations. Nothing. Mark Garvey had evaporated without a trace. As the days passed without answers, multiple theories about her disappearance emerged. Suicide. Some speculated that the fight with his girlfriend led him to an impulsive act, but his family ruled it out. Mark had plans. He was excited for his younger brother's birthday the next day. In addition, his body was never found. Voluntary escape. Did Mark flee? He had no money or belongings. He had shown no signs of wanting to escape his life. His friends and family described him as a stable boy. Crime, the scariest theory. A young man alone in the night. An easy target for someone with bad intentions. Did someone approach you at the bus stop? Did they put him in a car with the promise of taking him home and never let him go again? Undercover accident. Perhaps Mark was hit by someone who, in an act of panic, hid his body, but no traces of a crash were found. Mark's disappearance left an open wound in his family. Dorothy became a tireless mother in her search. For decades, he put up posters, spoke in the media, asked for help, but he never got answers. Until her death in 2025, Dorothy never stopped looking for her son. Every year on the anniversary of his disappearance, friends and family held vigils in his honor. Today, her story lives on in forums and documentaries about cold cases. 38 years later, the mystery of Mark Garvey remains unsolved. What happened to him that night? Who has the answers your family never got? Time moves on, but the memory of Mark is still there. Perhaps one day the truth will come out.